and answers. So hello everybody, and thank you for joining us today to find out a bit more information regarding the holiday activities and food programme. We are going to record this session, and that's for those people who are unable to actually attend this webinar, and we can forward it out to them. So my name is Sarah Oakley. I am Voluntary Community Sector Lead within Walsall Council, and I am leading on this project along with Isabel van der Heeren. Isabel, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm Isabel van der Heeren. I'm the lead for transformation in Children's Services.
Brilliant, thank you. So we're going to do a joint presentation today. So I'm going to do the first half and then pass over to Isabel to carry on. So Lorna, if we can go to the next slide. Okay, so we've done our welcome introduction. So the aim of today is to provide more information to you regarding the HAF programme, tell you a bit about how it's come about, a bit more about the funding, next steps, and then we will have a question and answer session at the end. If I can ask that we leave questions until the end of the session, you can either put them in the chat or wait until the end and raise the hand, just because some of your questions that you might have, they might be answered as we go along. Thank you. Okay, so the HAF programme, what is it all about? So it's funding that we will be receiving from the Department of Education, and it's to support families, particularly with children who get free school meals, to provide them with holiday provision. So it's targeted to lower income families who are less likely to access activities over the holiday and access meals and physical activity. So they've responded to concerns raised from the Department of Education, and this is why we've got this project. Thank you. So holidays, activities and food programme. So you can see why we call it the HAF programme, because it is a bit of a mouthful to say that all the time. So this programme has been around for quite a while. Sorry, I'm just going to mute the person who's just attended.
Yes. All right.
There we go. So yeah, this programme has been around for a number of years. However, this year the Department of Education has decided to offer funding to all local authorities, and the aim is to provide free school to provide free activities for those children who access free school meals, to provide them with healthy meals and to provide activities which are enriching, so a variety of activities which will improve their physical health and mental health. The activities will take place over the Easter, the summer and Christmas holidays. So government has invested £220 million to this project. Unfortunately, we're not getting that all amount, and I'll tell you how much Walsall are getting shortly. In the past, the programme has worked really closely with voluntary and community sector organisations, and the Department of Education have highlighted that this has played a really important role in the success of the project within other areas, and they did a bit of an evaluation of how the funding's been used in other areas, and you can find the report on the link of the PowerPoint that we will send out. And that also just gives a bit more information about some of the activities which have taken place around the country, how they've worked, their successes, and you know, if you are interested in putting in an application form, you can just see about how things have worked in other areas, which might make you think differently or encouraging you to do something differently as well. Thank you, Lorna. So the DfE has provided some standards that the activities need to achieve. So the 5 on the right hand side. So the first one is around healthy food. So within your activity that you provide, a healthy meal needs to be provided for that child. Activities need to be enriching. So this is where we say, you know, of a variety. It doesn't have to be, you know, a all around sport. It can be something different which the children would be interested in. However, there will need to be an essence of physical activity to get healthy activities provided with the child. And around nutritional education, so this is for the child and also for the family, a bit of learning that they can take away with them. And organisations need to have their policies and procedures updated, need to be accurate, and this is something that we can support you with as well. Just muted, there we go. Provision, as I say, is for all children who access free school meals within Walsall, and we're after a variety of activities which are inclusive and accessible. So, we are looking for activities for all children. They need to, it needs to take place for 4 hours per day, so for 4 days a week within the summer, and then over Easter and Christmas, it's for 4 hours a day for 1 week. Thank you, Lorna. Okay, so what are we in Walsall wanting to achieve? Obviously, we want to get as much activities available for our children as possible. We want to provide activities which get them active, which they learn from, make new friends, meet new people, but we want them to be safe, and we want to have, as I say before, a variety of those enriching activities, of a variety of different things which maybe they wouldn't necessarily participate in generally. They come away with more knowledge about how to be healthy, about nutrition. So, we really want them to be a champion within their own families, to challenge family members around what eating habits, and they make the right choices as we go along. Be more engaged in activities within the school, so the schools are aware of what they're doing, and want them to have a better knowledge and awareness of what holiday provision is and how they can access it in years to come. Thank you, Lorna. So how much will we receive within Walsall? So we will receive just under £1.8 million within Walsall, and this is to up until Christmas 2021. We've done some provision in the past, in previous summer holidays, but we're really wanting to expand on this, and we really want to have a good mixture of activities which take place throughout the whole of Walsall, so in each locality area, and we want to encourage that partnership with organisations within your locality, so that we're not having the same activity 4 times within a small area. The Walsall Council have got a resilient communities stream, and we've done a lot within this stream around adults linking in, particularly those who are socially isolated or vulnerable, and we've done a lot around this. So this is a really key transition now into children's services, so we can understand and support our voluntary and community sector to do a lot more with regards to this age. And also we want to develop an offer around preventative work and link those partnerships between agencies that maybe we've not worked with in the past, but really use this as an opportunity to develop links that we can do more to support our children and young people within Walsall. Isabel, over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. So that's an overview of the HAF. So in Walsall now, what we have done, and it is a requirement of the DFE, is that we have a steering group. So although the money's coming down to the local authority, and the local authority is the lead organisation, therefore, we very much see this as a collaboration between partners. So we have developed a steering group. That steering group exists of various people within the local authority, but also external partners like One Walsall, like our housing providers, and a number of key other agencies. Police being one of them, health, etc. So, and really what we see is that being a collaboration and that the coordination, the oversight of it, it sits within the steering group, not only to make sure that we maximize opportunities, but also to look at that sustainability, because we don't know whether the DFE beyond Christmas 2021 will invest another 1.8 million into Walsall. So really, although this is about activities, maximising that resource to provide activities to children on free school meals and provide them additional education and support, for us in Walsall, it's also looking at how we can make things sustainable for that group of children and young people for the future. And some of the things that Sarah has referred to around how can we provide support and training around some key issues, preventative issues, develop our resilient community strand will be key into that. So the steering group would have some oversight about those opportunities, but also if you were to become a provider of the HAF programme, we are keen to work with providers to understand what's needed in the community and how some of those sustainable opportunities can be delivered. So this is a real dialogue, a real collaboration. So the steering group is currently mapping all children who are eligible to free school meals per locality. So we'll have that in a physical map, and we're trying to also identify providers who deliver activities to children and young people in each of the localities. So what that will show is who are those providers out there and where do the children live, and where may we have some gaps, cold spot areas where we might have to develop the market, and how can we do that? Easter might be a bit short but definitely for summer and Christmas, and to make that sustainable. We will then look at who are the providers best placed to already have that relationship with the community, have the skill to deliver the activities, you know, and that might be individual providers, but we may also have conversations about providers joining up, opportunities to join up together to maximize, for instance, relationship with skill to deliver the right provision. And for Easter in particular, so we have got 1.8 million across the 3 holidays, but for Easter particularly, we're looking to allocate around 160,000 pounds in small grant funding to deliver the activity programme for Easter. It's not just about giving out grant and getting providers to get on with it. This is about understanding what support will be needed. So support from the offstart to kind of look at where can we link people together to provide better provision, what training needs is there. So already in the expression of interest form, you will see questions like, do you already deliver a programme for children with SEND? If you don't, would you be interested? If you are interested, what would be your need around resources, training, additional capacity? So we really start to understand how we can expand the current provision and support you to deliver that key activity. The other stuff that you might say, so Sarah said the DFE is saying we are having to provide children with meals on the activities, and we're also having to provide the children with nutritious education. So we know from the evaluation process in other local authorities that some providers may struggle to have access to kitchen provision or meet the healthy food standard to provide that activity. So one of the support could be that we link you know, somebody with the skills together to be able to provide that package of support. We will, and the steering group will promote the provision. So we are looking how we best communicate with children on free school meals, how that sign up work, and how we promote uptake. And we would like to see a big uptake in Walsall of children who are eligible. And we want to maximise opportunities. So this is not a silo programme. We want to look at how this links into already provision that's out there and how that can link into other things that we're trying to develop, like the resilient community strand. So we are kind of looking wide, and that's why there is a wide steering group. So for instance, our housing providers do a lot of activities around health and well-being. So we're looking to link that up and kind of make sure that we maximise opportunities through that. And like I said, this is not just about you know, getting to Christmas 2021, having lots of children benefiting from that, and then that will be it, waiting if there'll be a next tranche of money. This is about us looking at how we can move things forward and how this program can maximize opportunities, and looking at medium and long-term planning, with hopefully all of you being part of that partnership. Okay, Luana, next slide. So yeah, so what we're looking at, this is just kind of some key aspects of what we want you to think about yourself when you think about expression of interest. And also, when we then, the next step after expression of interest, we'll have one-to-one discussions and some group discussions, is, you know, how can you build the widest possible local partnership? So don't think just about your provision, but think about the children in your locality, or where you know, the connections that you have, and how you can already start with that partnership in mind. We will be collecting data and management information. So again, think back about the outcomes we want to achieve, and how you as an organisation are placed to collect that data and information. And if not, raise that with us and kind of raise some of the barriers that you've experienced around that. The food standards, I've already said, you know, don't be put off by if you haven't got access to, you know, you don't think you can provide that aspect of the programme in terms of food provision, then be honest about that. Don't be put off, because we may be able to point you in the direction of somebody who can, and develop that partnership around that. On the other side, if you say, actually, I can do the food, but I can't do the activities, but I want to be part of the food side of it, then again, let us know. So yeah, you will see from the expression of interest that we are asking people if they already have an Easter provision. So this is about building on that Easter provision. So we want to know what activities are already taking place that we can promote as part of this programme, and then where we may have gaps, and build on that, and use the £160,000 to maximise the opportunities for children and young people. Obviously, for Easter, we'll be looking at, given government talks, and we're not sure whether any of the restrictions will ease before Easter, we'll be looking at how can we be creative, and how can we, you know, look at the online offer, maybe the delivery of activity packs and food packs delivered to people's home, and then followed up with activities and support online. So we want people to think about that, and kind of, if you've got already good practice around that, then we're keen on hearing about that, and hearing how we can upscale that for Easter. But we do want an Easter programme that is accessible to all children on free school meals. Yeah, and be clear on what support you need to deliver quality provision. So we don't think everybody will come with the full package. Everybody will have a skill and ability to deliver to this, or to contribute to this, and we're keen, if you want to be part, to know what that skill and that opportunity is, but also what you can't deliver, and be honest about that, and then we can look at solutions and way forward. Next slide, Lorna. So next up, unfortunately, we're a race against time for Easter. The DFE, you know, have only just started discussions with us. We had our first meeting with them on the 15th of January. So we are now focusing on an Easter delivery, but we also starting to think about what do we need to do in terms of summer. So we want your expression of interest back to us by the 5th of February, because that will give us an indication who is where and what can you provide, and how we're going to either have one-to-one discussions or group discussions. So we are thinking about, you know, there might be a number of providers in a particular locality that we want to bring together. There may be providers who deliver on a central basis around specific groups of young people, like SEND or online provision, where we kind of may want to have a discussion about that central provision. So that will all come together in a mapping, and then we were looking to start the discussions with the providers on a one-to-one or group work on the 22nd of February. So that won't necessarily be we want you to deliver this. That will be looking at what the needs analysis tells us and starting that collaboration about what that activity program look like and what your contribution might be, and starting that planning. And then between the 22nd of February and 12th of March, that's really where the activity will happen. So we have an agreement on what each provider will provide. And so we're ready to put that into an activity program, ready to communicate out to children, young people and families and key partners. And so we will be publishing that on the 19th of March. I think some of that will be writing letters and booklets, emails, and kind of publishing it through to various press releases. And then we'll deliver, obviously, the Easter programme. So as Sarah said, we are expected to deliver 1 week of 4 days, 4 hours per day access to each child. You know, we'll have to have a basis on not 100% uptake, but 50% uptake, and make sure that we've got sustainable delivery. But when it comes to online programs, we'll probably have a little bit more flexibility than physical activities and how many people can access it. What we are saying is it's 1 week across the 2 weeks, so we don't have to particularly choose on 1 week. What we have to deliver is 4 days of 4 hours across that 2 week, and if as a minimum, if we can do more, then that's great, but that's kind of as a minimum what we're looking at. And then obviously we'll be looking at evaluating with yourself as providers, with the children and young people and families that have taken part, and with some key stakeholders that were part of the collaboration, to then inform straight away the start of summer planning. So that's really what we're looking in terms of next step. So, Lorna, I don't know, are you able, or are you relying on me to bring the expression of interest form? Or I can see Lorna messing with the PowerPoint, which probably means that she'll bring up.
Yeah, I've got it up, 1 second.
Thank you. So what I thought would be helpful is to quickly take you through the expression of interest form. So the first bit of the form is a bit about you as an organisation. So what we need you to do is identify who will be the key link to this program for your organisation, and because those are the people that will get the information, will send the invite in terms of having the conversations and the meeting with. So give us all the, then we want a little bit to know about whether you know, whether you a charity organisation, a limited company. That just helps us in terms of identifying who the providers are. Nobody's excluded, so we will work with private provider, community association, voluntary sector, charitable, local authority, etc. Section 2 is around your existing provision. Like I said, you know, we're really keen on making sure that this is sustainable. So for us, children that engage with local providers, providing them with opportunities outside school holidays to develop that relationship and having some activities to do will really benefit them longer term. So we're keen on hearing what age ranges you cover, what locality you cover. If you are already providing activities that are inclusive of children with special education need and disability, or have specific activities that target that group, because we know that's a gap in Walsall. And if you don't at the moment, but you are willing to provide, but you haven't got the right training, equipment, building, additional staff or capacity and staff, then let us know and we can see whether we can link you up with that. Also, young carers is a specific group. We know, especially around COVID, that young carers have been under particular pressure and haven't always had access to the right provision and support. So we're keen on how we can support them through this programme. So again, having your expertise, if you already have, would be helpful to know. Which locality you're delivering, and you can tick as many or as little as possible within that, so we know where you could deliver or where you're currently delivering. And whether you've got a building to deliver from, and again, where that building is based. And then in terms of meeting the requirements, tell us the standards set out by the DFE, whether you can meet all of them, some of them. And again, it doesn't prevent you from becoming a provider if you can't tick all of the boxes. It just gives us an overview of who can do what and where we may have gaps and how we can partner people up. Okay, gives us a bit more information about how you can provide it and what your experience is. And then, yeah, virtual activities, because obviously, especially for Easter, we'll be looking at a virtual program and some face-to-face. And we've got public health on our steering group, so they will be helping us and helping you as providers where we can deliver face-to-face to do that in a safe way and giving some guidance and training around that. If you have a virtual offer and you've delivered that, tell us what experience you've got, where the virtual platform is and what your impact has been around that. That's helpful for us to know. And again, that will help us not to duplicate and to not do things that aren't working. So the learning from what people have already done. And then you can indicate to us again, are you interested in all of this holiday provision, or are you just interested in one particularly, or, you know, Easter may be too close, face-to-face might be too difficult, I can't do a virtual offer, so therefore I'm only interested in summer and Christmas. That's something you can tell us as well. And then we would have discussions after Easter with you to look at summer or Christmas programme. So yeah, do you already have activities planned? So we're keen on knowing what we can already promote as part of this programme, so we don't start with a blank sheet of paper, and hopefully there's a number of local providers that have already thought about the holiday activities. And if you could, with additional funding, could you provide more, or could you provide activities? And then again, for who and where over Easter. And then, are there any training needs you would need to become a holiday activity and food provider? And then any other comments? So we're hoping that's quite straight way forward to complete your expression of interest and not too onerous, but it gives us the information we need to make the start of the right conversations with the right people, really. So I'm going to pause there. Lots of information to take on. Hopefully some of that information you already had by the information we sent to you on the letter and the link there to the DFE. But I just want to check any questions from people. If you can put your hand up, or if people don't want to talk, put them in the chat.
Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just some clarity, you know, in terms of if you're running a 4-day program, do the same children have to come to every day in terms of counting the numbers, or can an individual child come to 1 of 2 days, or have they got to attend like the whole program that could be 4 days in a particular week?
Yeah, so we're looking for the program to be as flexible as possible to meet the individual needs. So the idea is that they will be able to pick and choose where they want to go. Yeah, so a child could potentially pick one day an activity and book on to an activity from you, but on the other day they might choose a different provider and book on to that. But there will be a booking process that we consider that is obviously prior. People have to sign up, if you like.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Is there a way to say, oh, okay, this is a Lorna question probably. So somebody's asking, is there a way of the expression of interest to half complete it and then come back to it?
I'm not 100% sure. I think if you just come out of it, I think it just saves it, but I'm not. I don't know if Kerry's on. Do you know,
I
Kerry?
am on, but what I'll do, Kate, is I'll clarify from ICT and I will personally email you because I'm not quite sure about that one.
Okay. So we'll email that in, frequently asked questions and answers to providers as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody's asking how many children are we looking to be able to take. So we are currently doing the mapping on how many children on free school meals we have. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was around 11,000 children, I think, in Walsall. Who are registered for free school meals. I think from the evaluation, you will see that the uptake in different local authorities have been different. So the DFE doesn't give us a target on uptake, but we would want to see a program that meet the needs of those children, therefore really good uptake. So we've been talking about 50% of children taking some kind of provision up across Walsall at least, and maybe kind of increasing that over the summer. Are there any age limits? So this is 5 to 16. So it's all children from reception all the way to the top of secondary school. Is the booking being okay? Wayne's asking if the booking's being done centrally or providers. So we are looking if I guess there's two things. One is from the DFE return, we want to make sure that the data and the data sharing is as easy as possible. So from that point of view, signing up centrally makes sense, but we also want to talk to providers because for some of the provisions, signing up locally might work better. So as we're having discussions, we just want to kind of make sure that we have a sensible approach to this. So we haven't decided on a centrally or a local signing up. We just need to make sure what makes sense from a child, young person and family point of view, especially if we want to make this activity program flexible. But then also as providers, you will have relationships with children and young people as well. So we don't want to create a central system that might put people off. So we just need to think through that, and we would like probably some conversations with you all or people that want to provide about how that best work. Will payment be made on attendance? No, payment will be made based on the activity, especially for Easter, on the activity program that we've agreed with you. Is there only for children who receive free school meals, or is it offered to others too? So the program the HAF program and the money is there to make activities accessible to children on free school meal. So the money has to be used for children on free school meal. What we're looking to do in Walsall is, because we know that free school meal doesn't identify all children who maybe live in kind of income or poverty as an issue. So we're looking to expand that to families who have tax reduction, because not all children who are entitled to free school meal register for free school meal, and we know that the tax reduction scheme includes more than those young people. So we're looking to make it free. In terms of the activity itself, it doesn't mean that you can't open up to other children and young people, but if there's a cost attached to that, then that would need to be paid through a different scheme. So we would particularly look at children free meal. Hold on, I'm trying to pick up on all the could we offer just to one age? Yep. So it's up to you, depending on your skill expertise. If you just want to do the primary school age, that's fine. If you just want to do the secondary school age, that's fine as well. If you want to do both, that's fine as well. If you're saying my particular activities lends to 13 to 16, then be specific about that as well. Yeah, is there an opportunity for specialist providers, e.g. mental health? So as long as remember, go back to the minimum standard. So the whole aim of the program is to engage people in positive activities and activities that provide enrichment, physical activities, and access to food. So it doesn't prevent a specialist provider around mental health to deliver that as long as it meets the requirements. So what it wouldn't necessarily pay for is counselling sessions or group work sessions around, I don't know, anger management or domestic abuse, or it is that kind of universal activity program. Okay, but it does provide a platform to build a relationship and maybe do the more kind of approach to it.
Isabel?
Yeah.
David DeBay here. Could I ask about children with SEN and what criteria would be? Because I'm sure this is, once this becomes known out to the public that the plans are to provide this program, this would be something that people would be asking questions about.
Okay, so it's again, it's same applies. So children with SEN who are on free school meals will be entitled to access to the program. You will see from the standards that the DFE especially wants the activities to be inclusive. So we are looking for activities that are inclusive of SEND, and if they can't, can we support providers to make them inclusive? But also we know that sometimes it would be good to do specific activities that are targeted at children on free school meals who've got a special education need or disability. So we're also interested in providers thinking about specific activities as well as inclusive activities. Does that answer your question, David?
Yeah, yes, it does. Thank you. But is the single criteria free school meals?
Yes.
That will be the definitive admission into the program. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So that will provide free access to the activities. Yes.
Okay.
What have I missed, Lorna and Sarah?
Okay,
I think Pardeep's asked a question, Isabel. It says, will we be paid for children per session they attend, including food and activities?
No, so what we're looking to do is negotiate the activity program with you and the cost for the activity program. Because we haven't got a target on uptake, obviously we don't want this to be driven by targets. We want a really enriched activity. We then want to work together to make sure that the uptake is as good as we can get it, so a good uptake. So we don't want people to be penalised for a lack of uptake, because we see that as a joint effort. So we really want to focus on having the right activities for children to access, rather than on the numbers you are providing. So you won't be paid per child, you'll be paid for the activity package that you are providing. Is that answering your question? I'm hoping so. What else have I missed, Sarah?
So Wayne's asking about a bit more information really about how people sign up, and if they do it locally, will evidence have to be provided that their children does access free school meals? I suppose we will need to have some sort of evidence, because that's who this funding is targeted for.
Yeah, so we are looking to communicate with all children on free school meals. We're hoping to be able to do that direct to them, if not through schools, because they know who their pupils on free school meals are. And then we're looking at the uptake in particular. So we're looking at monitoring the uptake and the impact for those children in particular. So if we can't do that through a central model, and we will be looking at providers giving that information to us. Does that answer your question, Wayne?
Yeah, can I just ask, Isabel, obviously if people are ringing up locally, it may put them off if they've got to provide information, because obviously we can't receive the data from the schools if children are on free school meals because of data protection. So how are we going to quantify that they are actually free school meals children accessing? Because obviously when this goes out into the public arena, anyone and everyone will want to book on. And I'm just thinking, obviously, how we actually as a provider obviously quantify from that perspective. Because if they say they are and turn up on the first day and they haven't got, it's for me, it's booking them on.
Yeah, so that's why we probably would like to operate a scheme like the short break scheme, where people sign up centrally onto a database, and then we would provide the providers with people who've signed up. So the free school meal sign up would happen centrally. If you then have capacity to also include non-free school meal children, then they can probably do that through the provision itself. So then that will be your call, whether you've got A, capacity, and 2, want to make that provision open to other children as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a few coming through now. So Dominique from Library Services offering telling us a bit more about their library literacy reading scheme, and they could link that with an organisation, which is great to know.
Great.
And we can link in with organisations who might have a gap. Schools, have they been informed about this project?
Yes, so I met with head teachers. I think there was 100+ head teachers in the room last Friday. All the information has been sent out directly to them and through the brief. We've asked for partnership with schools 3 ways. So schools can become providers of the holiday activity and food programme, and we'll come up with some Walsall name for that, because I really don't like the HAF name. So they can become providers. Secondly, schools may have buildings that they can provide access to, maybe not Easter, but maybe summer and Christmas, especially with kitchen facilities that we may want to partner up with. And thirdly, schools will definitely be a key link to promoting this and making sure that there is a good uptake of those children that they feel would benefit from it.
Right, so Andy Nichols is suggesting doing a golden ticket like they do in the early years team.
Okay, tell me, Andy, about that.
Yeah, hi guys. All they've done for the 2-year-olds, every eligible 2-year-old for a 2-year-old placement in all nursery schools across Walsall was sent a golden ticket in the summer, just informing them that they're eligible for this funding. And to do it, so if you can pull on your list of free school meal children, then you could send them some form of voucher that entitled them to cash it in, as it were, at some form of activity scheme, wherever that might be. Or it goes out to the schools, and the schools dish them out to every child that's on their free school meal register. It's easy. It's easy enough to do. It's not difficult.
Yeah. And definitely primary school children, that approach would work. We would need to think maybe about an approach about getting teenagers involved, but that's a great idea, and I will talk to my early years colleagues about that. We have met with our early years colleagues, and so to give you an example, we want people to start thinking creative, and where you've seen creative solutions that really work, come and talk to us about it. So in a meeting with our early years colleagues, we discussed about private PVI, so childminders, nurseries, and actually they may be able to be a provider, but also what they were saying is they have trained staff, qualified staff that could provide additional capacity for activities like SEND. So we could partner up with some private providers about providing that and kind of linking them up with people that say, I would love to do activities that are inclusive, but actually haven't got enough staffing to do that. And then we can pull in the qualified providers, nursery providers that may already do some fantastic activities around including children with SEND around that. So that's a really good example where we already had conversations and some ideas around that.
Thank you. Heather's asking about Easter and about activities being virtual and then delivering food. So again, as we said, it can be either virtual or delivering activity packs. And then, yes, the food being delivered. Mark's asking about when they will know about how many free school meals children are within their area. That's when once we've collected the data.
We will, yeah. So the timeline, I'll have to go back to my timeline now. So remind myself. So by the week of the 8th, we will have a mapping of where children are that are on free school meals. We're looking to share that with the registered providers, so you have an indication when we meet with you and start that discussion. So I guess in my head, I've got a process which says, tell us you're interested and tell us a little bit about your organisation and your skill. Alongside that, we will then have the mapping, which we'll send out to you. So once we've received your expression of interest, we see that as you're interested, we want to have a discussion. We give you a bit more information. We then set up a meeting, and that bit of information about the mapping allows you to think about what an Easter activity may look like, what you could offer. And we want to bring that together in a discussion. Some of that might be a one-to-one discussion, some of that might be a group discussion. So there'll be a series of discussions that will be collaborative, working about what the activity program would look like. And at the end of that, we will then have an agreement who will deliver what, which will trigger the money side of it, but also trigger the publicising of the activity program. So we will have a series of meetings between the 12th of February and the between the 22nd of February and the 12th of March that will get us to that process.
Brilliant, thank you. Somebody's asked about whether schools have been involved in past projects, in previous summer projects.
Yes. So schools in Walsall have always been key in our discussion about summer. You know, they were key around our thinking about how we support vulnerable people and the delivery of the Keep in Touch team. In the national programme, schools were definitely, as were voluntary and community sector, identified as key partners for reasons of actually they have got sometimes capacity, skill and expertise to deliver, but they're also key to get the communication out to children and young people and have the relationship to encourage the uptake on it. So definitely. Wayne kind of makes a reference to Holiday Kitchen, which was a Karma Accord-led provision in Walsall a couple of years ago. Absolutely, we're keen on restarting that, but it's not exclusive of that. So Holiday Kitchen was a programme where families were brought together, and it was a combination of cooking together as a family and activities as a family. So this program would fit into this provision, but we're looking at other activities as well.
I think that is all the questions. Oh, yeah. So Jan's saying you said discussions food bank, which is brilliant partnership.
Yeah, and we are having some discussions through the business. What's the board called? So the economic business,
social responsibility.
Yeah, so where we come together as local authority with businesses, and we are looking at how businesses could be part of this delivery by maybe maximising on delivery of free school, free food, or free or discount on food, maximising volunteering opportunities maybe. So we're having a look at the additional value that our businesses in Walsall can add to this programme. But yeah, food bank would be a key, especially around the sustainability as well.
David's still got his hand up, but I assume that's something from previously.
No. So Andy, you asked a question about COVID restrictions. We have to deliver an Easter programme. We're looking at virtual mainly virtual activities, delivery of food packages that are linked to virtual activities, and then some face-to-face delivery to smaller groups of bubbles of young people where we feel that is really valuable to those most vulnerable, but we can't defer to October half term. The DFE is very clear. They want us to deliver Easter, summer, Christmas.
Right. Is there
Anything else? No, has this been helpful for people to help with thinking? So really, you know, we're not going to dictate. We want you to be part of the development. You will have lots of ideas out there about what you tried and tested before, especially if you already deliver locally, what your local community, children, young people, families would really like to see. So this is an opportunity to help shape the programme, rather than it being just a funding opportunity, dishing out the money and you know, having an activity program delivered. So we really want you to be part of the shaping. So we've already received a number of expression of interest. You've got another week and a bit to do so. If you've got any questions, then email Walsall Right for Children at walsall.gov.uk. Lorna will put the email already in there. Or contact myself or Sarah. Our contact details were on the letter, so give us an email direct. So thank you all for coming. I'm hoping, you know, there was quite a few people, I think about 39 people in the room. I'm hoping that translates into many expression of interest. If you know of any colleagues or any organisations you work with closely or know in your local community that should be part of this, then please promote and get them to put an expression of interest in. And then we will have further conversations with you on, well, somewhere between the 12th and the 22nd, you will get invites from us to have some further discussions.